Okay.
Hi everyone. Good morning. So welcome to this month's monthly pitch workshop for the Startup Club. So every month we conduct this. We have Amiya here, who's part of our we call it a panel investor, and he basically comes in every month and he guides a one-to-one session. He has a one-to-one session with a founder who is pitching for a startup, and he guides on how to invest to pitch it, how to pitch to investors. So I'll let him set the context for this session. So Amiya, you can go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, Raghav. Okay. So the construct of this session would be more in terms of take 10 to 15 minutes to make the pitch. And then I would probably give you my inputs and we can have a round of discussion in terms of how to structure things, what are the potential gaps, and how can you potentially be ready for an actual round of investment. Keep in mind the objective for being here. That is to take an opinion. Right. So you don't have to take it as something written in stone, but it's just my opinion based on my experience that I've had so far. So you can take it, discard it. It's totally up to you. But apart from that, my attempt here is to give you my insights based on my experience in terms of how people are going to be looking at your company and how can you position yourself better moving forward. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, looking forward and let's see how things go ahead.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Start with an introduction, then we'll get into the pitch.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
So maybe I will start with introducing myself and then we can get to introducing my company.
Sure.
So hi everyone, I am Swastik Mukherjee. I'm the founder and CEO of Project Mela. So I've been a software programmer, a stack developer for like 2 years now. I have built some interesting projects which have gone into colleges and universities like IIT Bombay. I've also been, the finalist at eConclave IIT Kanpur, and have also done some basic level of freelancing work with other startups as a, pro bono basis. So I have some recent idea on working on some project. So Project Mela is, a company I started, I think 2, 3 months ago, understanding the gaps in the world of the freelancing work and how things are being coordinated and managed over getting a tech project done. So that has been the core idea of why I started Project Mela, which I would be more than happy to express and share in my pitch deck as well. So if Maya sir allows, we'll start with the presentation, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sure, sure. So you can see my screen. Let me know. Just a
Yeah,
minute.
we can see it.
Just this. Okay. Just give me a minute. So yeah, let's let me. So I minimized all the screens. So let me know if somebody is raising hands or some questions are there. So I can get into full screen once again. So basically getting into the actual pitch deck, let me take you to a scenario of a story or an analogy of how freelance project starts. So for example, let's say I am a client, right? And I'm looking to start a project or get my project done. So what is the journey I have to travel first of all? So first of all, I have to go through multiple of freelance website which is available on internet, like hundreds and hundreds of them. And even in each of these freelance websites, I have to go through multiples and multiples of individuals and freelancers pitching to get my work done. So I am shifting through 3 4 freelance website and I am talking to 10 more freelance project workers. Let's say I'm a non-technical person, I have very little to no idea of what all even technical requirements are there for my projects to be get done. I don't know what would be a right project budget to get my project done. So first of all, I'm researching all these all my while also talking with multiple of the freelance project workers. So even before the project have even started, I have to do so much of heavy work, let's say, I find five people I think are interested, which are spread over three freelance website. I talk with them first, get to know them first, schedule meetings, get an interview, get an idea of what they think. You know, then we discuss over the budget. Now I am still apprehend myself whether these are the right person, whether they can get the work done properly, whether they will not ghost me, or they are not random scammers out of Bangladesh who are just after closing the project they will take my money. And I have had past experiences which is also backed up with some of the data that once you put in money in any of the freelance project, freelance platform, getting that money back is nearly impossible or very difficult. So let's assume that even if I land up to a freelancer who is not a scammer and really good at doing the project, even that I have to juggle between multiple freelancers, somebody who's doing the front end work, somebody who's doing the back end work, and I have to personally manage the entire project. So isn't it too hassle for me as a non-technical founder to look into all these things just to build my tech project? And at the same time, this is the client side of POV, right? For a non-client side of POV, as a tech programmer, I have to, apply to multiple of these freelance sites, get ignored by thousands of other applicants. I have to learn maybe front end, back end, API integration. A lot of things I have to learn even before taking a first project. So even as a person, as an applicant, there is very less visibility on my side for clients to reach out and clients to see. Plus, there are so many limitations that freelance platform themselves put. Then n number of people you can apply to, y number of requirements you have to meet in. So these are also problems I have to face as an applicant, and this is where Project Mela comes in. So, giving an idea of what all, summarizing the problems into four major categories. See, for the programmers, the problem is as I'm starting out, right? It is first of all very difficult to find real world projects where I can learn and build my experience as well. In any freelance platform, you have to be an expert in what you are doing before even applying, right? Second, it is difficult to find paid projects and gigs based on your particular level, interest, and experience, right? And third is, see, not all programmers have all the knowledge required to take an entire tech project. I may be very good at, front-end development, but maybe not that good at back-end development. I won't be good at back-end and API integration, not design and front-end might not be my skill. So I have to have all the skills put up together to take up a complete project. And fourth is very important where I feel is there's a lack of a platform that enables freelancers to collaborate on tech projects. Right? These are the problems I face as a programmer when I try to apply for tech projects. For the client side of you, right? As I said in the analogy as well, right? First and very big problem is there is so much hassle for a non-technical person. Say, for example, I'm a non-technical person to find the best candidate, get the best candidate, assign the project, coordinate the project. Just basically too much hassle. Even if I go through so much of hassle, there's a lack of accountability of any freelance side regarding the work of their freelancer, right? So I assign a freelancer, I hold the personal risk that the freelancer will get the work done. If the freelancer doesn't get the work done, I'm in an absolute nightmare trying to negotiate with the freelance side. Please give me my money back, not giving the money back. And I have personally seen clients who have lost significant amount of money because of under delivery, poor delivery, or lack of what they communicated in the beginning, right? And third is obviously outright scams. So freelancers who are basically very amateur, lied about themselves, got the project, and they're giving substandard work, or straight outright ignoring you, ghosting you after the payment is done. So all these scams, and even if you find the right person, you have to still regularly manage and coordinate the project among multiple programmers, which is again a hassle on my part as a client, say for example. So what is our solution? Our solution is simple. So Project Mila, what it is basically a holistic program or a platform where clients can list their project, which will be restructured, assigned, coordinated, and managed as a whole by the platform itself among the programmers within the platform who can get the project done based on the skill and experience. And these programmers are coordinated and collaborated by us, helped by us, and assisted by the Project Mila team. So we are building a collaborative experience that will platform for
Sorry,
multiple
Swastik,
stakeholders
your
to
voice
collaborate.
has gone down a lot.
Hello, can you
Yeah,
hear me
much
now?
better. Better.
Yeah, that's thanks for the feedback. So yeah, basically a collaborative platform where you can come work with other people, and we as a platform is trying to collaborate the work done. And for the client side, we will take all the hassle from assigning the project to managing the project to getting the project to finally deploying it and putting it in your hand. So this is what basically Project Mela is. So how does it exactly work? Very simple. You just create a profile. This is the part for the person who's applying for project. For the client, you just fill a basic form and post your project. Then the listed projects actually goes to a admin dashboard. From the admin dashboard, the admin approves all these projects. Once approved by the admin, it is then uploaded into the main website where then candidates can apply to these projects. So, the candidate gets a basic idea of what the project is and they can apply on the project. And then once the projects are live, the moderators, can see and go through the applications of what all applications they have sent, and then can select suitable applicants for a particular project. And once these projects are being selected, it is again coordinated and managed by our own moderators, our own project manager teams, and coordinated with multiple programmers to get the project done as per the client's requirement. So this is the overall idea of how we are doing. There is some, features and operational efficiency that I would definitely love to talk a little at the end once we finish the pitch deck. So how we are making money? So first of all, the platform is a free platform for both clients as well as freelancers. And there is no limitations or tokenization. So you can upload as many projects as you want, and a individual applicant can apply to as many projects as they want. No limits, no caps. How do we make money? Simple arbitrage. So the amount which we charge to the client, say for example, a client gives us a project for 10,000, and the amount at which we get the project done, say for example, we get the project done by at a budget of 8,000. So we basically square up 2,000 in profit. Simple arbitrage is how we are trying to make money here. Also, we are trying to add some few more features like add-ons, you boost your listing, give email notifications. So all these add-ons are like 50 rupees, 45 rupees, something around the client can pay to get more visibility. How are they unique than literally any of the platforms, freelance platforms, and any other platform outside? See, first of all, it might look small, but there are very little to no platform that actually allows unlimited project posting, unlimited uh, applications to projects. There is always certain limit. There is always certain you can project X, Y, Z limits per day. But this is very simple. See, we are not putting any paying to use our platform, and using our platform is unlimited basically. Second of all is you can find paid project based on your skill and experience, right? Third, as a beginner also, you can start working on good projects and gain real world experience. So maybe you don't know, taking up a big project is not something you can do. But if, say for example, if you're a small niche of skills, maybe you're really good at design, you can participate with a bigger team and upskill and gain some knowledge on working with real world projects. And also a platform where we think we are adding a significant value by allowing a collaborative efforts on how technical projects are being done on these freelance platforms. Our USP for clients, why would clients basically come and get their work done is, first, very significant advantage is the entire process is coordinated end to end, hassle free, right from getting the project assigned to getting the project deployed, completely coordinated by our own team with our relationship manager who's also communicating with the client. So non-technical client gets his work done hassle free. Biggest advantage I think we are offering for the client. Second is, of course, no more fear of scams, ghosting, or incomplete payment, incomplete work after the payment, because we control the entire operation, we control the entire platform. I mean, basically there will be no scams because we are in charge of the entire operations, right? Again, as I said, a dedicated manager, relationship manager, who is communicating things with the client, so the client also get an idea of how things are progressing as and when the tech project is happening. And fourth is a pay as per you go pricing model also we are planning to introduce. So the idea is you don't have to pay X amount of rupees upfront. You say your tech project is, let's say, 1 lakh or 50,000. We break it into smaller chunks: 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. So five 10,000s. You pay us the first 10,000 for this amount of features. Then the next 10,000 once these features are built. Next 10,000 once these features. So without even having to commit upfront payment, you can actually start giving us money as and when you see progress. This is also, I think, giving much more flexibility and freedom to how clients can approach to getting their tech projects done. So what are our traction? So we have done a pilot phase in the last, I think, July, August month, late July and August month. And we have, networked and talked to some of the colleges if they would be interested in, joining us. One of the colleges who were very interested was IIT Bombay. So I am from Bombay. So we reached out to IIT Bombay and they were really, really kind. The department of, the hiring department and the HR department of IIT Bombay, they actually allowed us to hire interns from their college. They gave us like a 1 month of period where, they would give us candidates. So uh, really kind. So they did give us we were invited to IT Bombay for hiring candidates for 1 month, and we did hire the candidates also. At the same time, we reached out to clients as well. Whoever clients were interested, we reached out to them, and we were surprised to, actually got a real project, multiple real projects of more than 1 lakhs of orders from the clients itself even before we have launched the platform. So we had this very basic pitch deck, and we have given some idea of these are what we are doing. We reached out to some of the ex clients which I have worked for because I was a freelancer. Some of the ex startups which I have worked for, and most of them actually, a few of them actually gave us some projects, and we have completed those projects, within the exact framework which I right now explained. No marketing at all, no LinkedIn outreach, no email campaign, just by reaching to the clients or reaching to our contacts just on WhatsApp. So this has been early, traction. I think once we launch, and it's already soft launched uh, right now, and once we launch like completely with some of the AI features on pipeline, I think there is a huge immense potential to growth, which we're looking forward. Last part is like how are we trying to move ahead? See, as and when the project launches, right, we have to secure more tech projects so that we have something to show into the platform, and then we can get more programmers into the platform. That would be step one. Step two is once we have a reasonable base of projects and programmers, we'll reach out to colleges, bring more students into the platform, expand into social media reach, gradually start expanding our overall scale at which we are trying to get the work done. Step three is obviously, once more and more people come into the platform, you have to really scale up our vetting process. So we have to make sure that talent pool which we are getting, we are categorizing them based on what skill set they are working on. And step four is again, you have to, once things are getting some traction, you have to develop, departments, organize our operations, make a sales team, secure more tech projects. So basically structure ourselves, much more professionally. And step five is, of course, looking to investors, nationally and internationally and see how, we can collaborate. So yeah, that's have been my pitch and would be looking forward to any questions you have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Swastik. Good one.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's get
thank
into the
you.
pitch deck itself.
Sure, sure. Just.
Um, so let's get to the problem slide first.
Mm-hmm,
Now, the parallel that you started with was
mm-hmm,
comparison to freelance websites, right? Let's say
mm-hmm,
Upwork or similar, for example.
mm-hmm.
Right. But I also got a sense that at some level, this is more like a software development agency
Mm,
who is taking up a project and you
mhm,
don't know what they're exactly doing behind the scenes, but they
mhm,
actually make those levels of commitment and get that done. So instead of doing that as a
mhm,
manual exercise, this is
mhm,
more of an online exercise that's happening,
mhm.
right?
Right, right.
So, and there are so many software development agencies. I mean, any technical person
Mhm,
nowadays, they
mhm,
can potentially start software development agencies and they can have a bunch of
mhm,
people lined up and they might be experienced people, interns. You don't know who's
mhm,
really working on the actual project most
mhm.
of the times,
Right,
right?
right.
So the that sounded more close to me in
Mhm,
comparison to a freelancer website as such. Right?
mhm,
So if you're vetting, if you're taking control,
mhm.
that's where it felt like it's indexing. Right. Now let's look
So,
at some of the
mhm,
problem statements that you had.
sure. So, can I just maybe put
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So the idea is, there are multiple agencies. See, how we are planning to position ourselves out there is there are multiple agencies. They have all their own operations and how things are getting there. What we are trying to pitch in is we are this one single collaborative platform, which is literally optimizing the entire process end to end, right? So there are some features I was, as I said in the pitch also, that I would like to discuss at the end of the pitch. So this is how we are trying to put in maximum efficiency of how projects are being done as a freelance platform. So, we are working, as I said, there's some, features we are working on. So, right from getting your project, so, a freelancer comes, even they don't even have to fill the profile. For that, we are actually making a AI, so that once you upload your resume, based on your resume, your AI will only fill the profile, right? Even for moderators, what we are doing, we are making like AI search filters. So for a moderator, they can type what they want in a candidate. So I want a candidate who is in Mumbai, having this tech stack, and have this much years of experience. You type that in the AI, and we are building that feature also, very close to completing it as well. You type that feature, and you get, the relevant candidates that you think might be helpful. Even when we are doing the projects also. So if you could see, there was a slide where there was minimum XP points, right? See, you can see it there, 100, 200 is the minimum XP points. So once you come into our platform, right, you might be having no experience, right? You, as and when you do projects, right, you get more and more XP points. This way, what you're doing, you are earning points that makes you capable of, saying that, okay, this person is credible and they have capability to do more points. This way, we are quality controlling the amount of candidates we are getting, also incentivizing and gamifying how, candidates are, taking up projects. So more and more projects you do, more and more points you earn, bigger project you can take. So every project is a minimum XP, 50 points, 100 points. So this way we are also controlling the quality of how our candidates are, doing and approaching this work. And this is just to apply for that. Even after applications, the moderator will go through your profile, go through your rest of the, and then assign you the project. So we are trying to build a platform where this exact process of right from assigning to completing the work is heavily, heavily optimized. And this is where we are trying to position ourselves.
I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
let me rephrase what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is a freelance website? Or rather,
Mm-hmm.
what's a freelance website do that a software agency doesn't? Or vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
in your
Mm-hmm.
opinion? Help me understand that.
Okay, sure. So I think regarding whatever competitors we have seen, mostly in the category of freelance website, I think they put themselves as a platform where you can merely list yourself either as a freelancer, or you can list your project as out there for other freelancers to bid. So you're a listing platform which connects people with projects. That's it. And they're marking up like anywhere from 20 to 30%, 30% being the market standard, just for you to basically get connected with clients. So that is where I think a freelance platform exists. Where an agency exists is agency give you a set of people. They have within themselves only, and they pitch that set of people to do your work. So agency is just a group of individuals trying to get the work done. Whereas I think a freelance website is like a website that allows individuals to come and post and pitch, present themselves out there.
Right. So if you look at the core difference between
Mm-hmm.
these two aspects of it,
Mm-hmm.
with a freelance website, the freelancer is who you are working with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's between the client and the freelancer that the entire negotiation, project management, and everything that
Mm-hmm.
happens. In a software agency, development agency, you have someone who's taking care of a bunch of these things. And there is a
Mm-hmm.
developer sitting at the back end who's doing what needs to be done and defining milestones, delivering on milestones, and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, the problem that you have mentioned, and let's go to the problem deck, please. Problem slide.
Sure, sure. So there's two problem slides. One is for clients and one is for
Yeah,
programmers.
let's look at the
By the
client
way,
side.
Swastik, you're still on the title screen. I think you're seeing something else because
No,
we're
no.
only seeing the title screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Maybe I have paused the sharing. Can you just confirm if
Yeah,
Yeah, now we
I
can
can
see.
see.
yeah, yeah. Sorry for not able to see it.
Let's go
Yeah,
to the
so this is the
clients.
problem side for the
Yes,
client. Yeah, yeah.
right. So when you look
Hmm.
at this particular piece, you're right that a non-technical person will have a relatively difficult aspect. And it works better in an agency format where someone is acting as an interface, translating your business requirements to technical
Hmm.
requirements and getting them delivered, right?
Hmm.
Accountability works better in a software development agency because you know there is a
Hmm.
face. And
Hmm.
scams, again, relatively lower management and all of those things. So if you look at all of these things, Not to say that
Mm-hmm.
there aren't good freelance developers out there,
Sure.
but the probability, if you look at the volume itself, let's say if there are 1,000 freelance developers out there, you don't know how to trust maybe 900 of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there might be only 250 software development agencies out there, but you don't know how to trust maybe 50, 100 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the volume is the difference. But again, the problem that happens is irrespective of both a software development agency, a freelance website, at least in my experience, um,
Mm-hmm.
there is no way to say whether a software development agency or a freelance developer, they're actually going to be able to deliver,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Got it.
Um, they might have a track record,
Mm-hmm.
but they might not know how to do something specific that you're asking for,
Mm-hmm.
but they might have committed for it. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
expectation versus delivery mismatch.
Exactly.
Now, what you're talking about in the problem slide here
Mm-hmm.
is more on the experience side. But when you look at the execution of it, there
Mm-hmm.
is nothing to test and check whether you can actually deliver.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, let me
So,
put it this way. Let me
mm-hmm.
just finish my thought on this one.
Sure, sure, sure. Sorry for it.
So, the way I see it, the approach that you have had,
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of bringing the best of both worlds to me, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
giving control, clarity, transparency, but at the same time, you've got a bunch of freelancers who are doing the work. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, the operational aspect of it, when I'm looking at this for a particular client, there's no way for you to make sure that a freelancer can deliver. Let's just say the example that you gave, that someone, you got the project for 10,000 rupees. And when you say you got the project, then Project Mela is the one who got the project for 10,000 rupees. It's not the
Right,
freelance,
right,
right?
right.
You have got a bunch of freelancers sitting behind your platform, and you say that, okay, freelancer one, you go do it for 8,000 rupees. But
Mm-hmm.
whether they will be able to do it or not, midway
Mm-hmm.
they will leave or not,
Mm-hmm.
whether they will have some emergency, they will have to go or not. And
Mm-hmm.
the next person you hire, they might say, no, I want 11,000 for this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Right.
operationally, how are you handling this is
Mm-hmm.
the question for me.
Yeah, sure. So great question. So what we have seen in our idea is, I mean, in our operations as a experience running 2, 3 agencies before as well, and doing some pilot case for Project Mela as well. So if I say, for example, get a project for 10,000, or let's take a realistic number, say 50,000, right? And my idea is to get it done for 40,000, right? I don't go and ask a freelancer, hey, I have this 40,000, can you get it done? Absolutely not. It's a recipe for disaster. What we do is we break the project into smaller pieces. Say, for example, front end piece, back end piece, API integrations and database integration piece, and say, hey, we have 4 individual projects or what we call tickets, and we then post these tickets into the platform. So you don't see one single client. If you go to the admin dashboard, I would love to show you that. For admin dashboard, we get individual requests from the clients, right? We break that individual request into as many individual projects as we want, and then the moderators or the admin team then post these people. So although we got one project for, say, for example, 50,000, we might post it 4 projects for 10,000. Now what we are doing is we are breaking the minimum requirement for you to apply the project. So before that, if I directly posted one project for 40,000, you have to be a back-end developer, a front-end developer. You might have to know even API integration and cloud infrastructure. But what I have done is by breaking into 4 things. First project is just front end part. Second is just back end part. Third is just maybe cloud and hosting related part. Fourth is just API part. So you can put your own individual expertise, which you could not have done. Have it, I given you the entire project in hand. So this way we are able to bring down the overall cost, because once I give you a particular niche for you to focus, you can get higher quality people, and the amount of skills you require for a complete project reduces. So we get more people who can apply for individual projects. So this way we do 4 individual projects. Our moderators manages and coordinates with them. And once these projects are done, of course, work in a team, and we, manage and coordinate it. And once it is done, then we finally push it and balance between the teams and show it to the client. So this is how we are planning to move forward, and this is how we have done our first two projects also. So
So
that is the idea we're going forward with.
who's doing the end-to-end
Mhm.
stitching?
So our team, so for now, see what we have done, our admin team and moderator team, who have most of the data in the backend, right? They are doing all these work. So even for moderators with admins and super admins, they see, for example, as of now, I am doing all the work. When in the pilot phase, I was the moderator only, I was the super admin only. Sometimes if a programmer gets confused, I have to get in a call and explain them, okay, these are the things you have to do. So there are multiple roles when I say the backend team or the admin team. So one guy is the like the project manager type role, who communicates and be a bridge between the client and the individual freelancer. That is one segment of role we have seen. Second segment of role is seen, going through the individual candidate's profile and selecting relevant candidates. These are the moderators who choose which candidate to go, which not to go. And third is the super admin category, where basically you see everything at all together. If the project is happening properly or not, if there's some issues happening or not. Some client might have added some new requirements. So is that new requirement being handled by the new moderator who's taking care of that one? So there is a hierarchy of backend team, which I said into these three
So
categories.
my question was more in terms of the integration. So let's say you have a front-end person, you have a back-end person, you have an API person, you have a
Hmm.
another side, maybe a cloud person, whatever,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
At the end of the day, the project needs to be delivered as a project, one project,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, sure, sure.
So how are who's actually doing the end-to-end integration?
Oh, sure. I will give overview of what goes through a life of a backend developer team. So what goes as a team before the scenes, behind the scenes rather. So first of all, somebody, once they post a project, right? The first person who, go and talk with them are the moderators. That, hey, we received your project. What are your expectations? What are these? Although they have written that, we have a actual document of what they wanted. Still, we call up and get a better idea of what they want. These moderators who had who had had a word with the client, then they approve these projects, break them into tokens, and post it into the platform. The work of the moderator here is done. Once these projects are being posted, now the applicants apply, and these moderators select the right applicants who they think might get the project done. Once the applicants are ready and the projects are being filled, so four projects are there and relevant applicants are being filled, now the project managers comes into play. What the project manager role is, talking with the individual freelancers and making sure it is being managed as per the client's requirement. So these are the people who are managing the day-to-day operations. That, hey, is the this header done? Is this segment done? Is this section done? All these day-to-day operations. These people manage. And recently we are planning to hire 2 3 new project managers as well. So these people handle day-to-day operation. These are also people who themselves know programming. So they exactly know what could get wrong, what could be right. So these people help these programmers getting the project done. And the super admin is basically taking a overall view of everything happening right or not. Say for example, I am the super admin, I see this project, this is getting too much delayed. I call the moderator and say, hey, why is this project taking too much time? The moderator calls the project manager, say, hey, what exactly is wrong? Maybe talk with the freelancer, get the work done. So this is how we are coordinating as a team, as a hierarchy of backend, as
Still
a
doesn't
hierarchy
answer
of
the
backend
question.
team. Sorry.
Still doesn't answer the question, meaning who is doing the integration? For example, let's just say the software front-end guy, he says that, okay, I have got this particular front end and I need to talk to the back end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that communication may be happening through an
Project
API.
manager. Mhm. So since this part of the question is regarding the programmer, the programmers want to know how the backend team is going or how the API team is going. It is the role of the project manager to handle that project. So basically, we create a simple GitHub repo and add all the individual programmers into that front end, back end, API, everyone. And it happens into branches, and each of the branch are managed by the respective front end, back end, or API guy. And this project manager balances, handles everything amongst the programmers. So if a programmer had to approach, hey, my front end is ready, when do I connect it with the back end? He reaches out to the project manager of that particular project. So the project manager is doing that part of the stitching. Once all the project is being done, the moderator quickly checks everything is happening or not. The moderator does that part of the stitching. And once everything is done, it is being handed over to the client, and the feedback is taken, whatever changes are required. Accordingly, the project is delivered. So every person is, stitching their own part of the role they're trying to put in.
Okay. Now, how scalable do you think this is?
See, the thing is, right, I do know it is a operationally heavy task uh, regarding managing the teams and getting the initial projects and doing some work. It's an operationally heavy task, and we have to do invest on teams, right? But if I had to look at a way where how can I build a platform where tech projects are being optimized to the fullest, that is the idea right now we are trying to have. At this point, there are too many man-made processes involved, too many humans involved in how operations are being done. So yes, initially we'll have a lot of operational complexity when it comes to getting projects done. But as and when we scale, my idea is always to try to streamline, optimize the process, right from maybe hiring the people or maybe selecting the candidates to, project management and stuff like that. We're also, experimenting something with AI pull requests. So say for example, you you put a branch request, you merge a branch with the main branch, right? So instead of having a moderate project manager to actually go through that, the AI goes through the immediate pull request and flags any errors, flags any codes, flags any logical problems, and sends that message to the individual programmer that hey, this part of your code is problematic. Why don't you sit down and fix it? So we are trying to work on some AI processes which streamlines this process. But as of now, yes, there is a lot of streamlining and optimization you have to do on our.
Right. So when you look at why we are doing this particular session, in terms
Mhm,
of figuring out how an investor is going to look at this particular piece,
mhm,
the most common, or the place where I see that a lot of things could potentially break for you, that
mhm.
would be in terms of operations. How are you going to run it?
Agreed.
How many people can you hire? And
Mhm,
that is why it becomes very difficult for one person, one organization to start managing things. See, at the
mhm,
end of the day, that is what Infosys is doing as well.
mhm.
That is what TCS is doing as well. They just take
Sure.
multi-million-dollar projects. They've got a bunch
Mhm.
of people,
Sure.
mid-management, senior management, or even low-level
Mhm.
management, and then a bunch of developers. And this is what they're doing as well. They've introduced a
Mhm.
layer of management and get the
Mhm.
work done by a bunch of folks who are individual contributors, right?
Mhm.
But then it becomes operationally very difficult to handle. And
Mhm.
you
Agree.
have to really make sure that a lot of things have to fall in place
Mhm.
for this to happen. That is where the advantage is with the freelance websites.
Freelancer. Absolutely. 100%
They
agree
don't
with you.
have to go through all of these hassles. They don't have to figure
Mhm.
out the operational complexities. They just have to manage
Mhm.
a platform.
Mhm.
So the risk versus
Mhm.
cost per
Mhm.
se, what am I investing in and what is the risk
Mhm.
that I'm carrying?
Mhm.
That is very different in terms of what a freelance website does versus what you're trying to do. So if
Mhm.
I'm looking
Agree.
at it as an investor
Mhm.
and I see that anything becomes operations heavy,
Mhm.
then I need more proof,
Mhm. Makes sense.
right? You need to be able to run it for a prolonged duration of time, start generating revenue, and even then you will have to sell a lot because now it's
Mhm.
more into a service industry than a
Mhm.
product,
Mhm.
right?
Agree.
So
Yeah.
even if you have a platform, but what is it that you've really achieved through a platform? It's not automation at best,
Mhm.
right? There is no nuanced product that is coming out of this particular thing. Until and
Mhm.
unless you have evolved it to a certain level
Mhm.
where it has taken a shape and form that can be used by others as well. So as long
Mhm.
as you are using it for yourself,
Mhm.
it's an internal product and you are
Mhm.
selling a service.
Right. So basically, if you could see my screen, right? So the idea is not just an internal project. So there is a client-facing side of it where programmers can go and get their work project done, and there is a obviously back-end team side of it where we as a team, project Miller team, are trying to manage and operate things. So the question which you said, right, as and when things get operational heavy, right, it becomes much more difficult to sell. And if I was a freelance, I would merely listing projects. For me, my responsibility far significantly decreases, which obviously increases the scalability because I'm just merely listing projects. But I think this is where the problem starts with the large number of already existing sites who are merely connecting you with the right people, so to say. There's so many sites, even Intenshala is doing so. And I think this is where I think, you know, uh, Fiverr and Upwork are not like the top of the game choice for
So,
the
so
recent
see,
times.
I'm not disagreeing with the problem statement,
Mm-hmm.
but the solution to it,
Mm-hmm.
that needs a lot of work. And there are no easy solutions. Otherwise, these guys would have done it already.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
absolutely.
sure that they're well aware of all the problems that you're
Yeah, yeah.
talking about.
In fact, my whole idea was why I started working on this project, because Fiverr and Upwork would never even dare in their worst dream to even try to get into the operational side of it. And none of the platforms are even trying to do that, right?
Hmm. There
Either
is a reason for it.
there is a definite reason for it. No denying on that part. Either people go the agency route, where they are just one guy, I mean, one team, one people who are trying to pitch, hey, we want to get the work done for you. They go either that route, or they go directly freelance route. We are the new next platform using AI to get you connected with the right people. And we did some project research and competition research. That way too many platforms already existing which are connecting with you the right people, right? I think there we don't have a significant moat around where we can pitch that, hey, we are better than these other platforms.
So,
Again, if we go the agency route, again, there also we don't have a significant moat, I would say, because there are hundreds and thousands of agencies that we can say, hey, why work not with the 999 agencies and work with us? What we are doing, I think, what we are even trying to do is being this, third party platform that collaborates all these agencies, even not just individuals. It's not just individuals coming into our platform and getting the projects right. Even if agencies want, we can, list them and get the work done. We are being this third party, or this
aggregator.
middleware party, aggregator party, that is getting these two, people together and trying to make something out of it, where the client feels much more safer having to go individually, and these people feel safer that, okay, we are getting much more visibility and projects that we could have gone by, doing markets
And
and
there are
doing stuff like
platforms
that.
out there who are doing this already.
Exactly. So
So,
this is the. Mhm,
so my point was in all of this context, right?
mhm,
I understand and I acknowledge the problem that you're looking to solve.
mhm,
But the way you are looking to do it, especially
mhm,
from an investment point of view, right?
mhm,
There are many aspects to it. The technical aspect, the delivery aspect, the quality
mhm,
aspect, the
mhm,
integration aspect, the
mhm,
monetary aspect, the
mhm,
operations aspect, right?
mhm.
Various aspects are there. But and then one of those most important things that I'm not sure if you're looking into right now, but that is, where are you carrying the risk as a company? Where is the
Mhm.
client carrying the maximum risk? And where is the, let me just call it a developer, because I'm not even
Mhm.
sure how would
Yeah,
classify
developer
them as a
sounds.
freelancer, right?
Yeah,
But then,
developer sounds good. Yeah.
so where are they carrying the maximum risk, right?
Mhm,
So all of these are various possibilities and parameters that
mhm,
are there that need to be taken care of. But
mhm,
when I'm looking at it from an investor lens, and if you come to me and say that, boss, this is what I have right now,
mhm,
then I'm not able to build my confidence to say that
mhm,
you can get it to a level where investing anything and trying to make a X multiple out of it is going to be possible for me.
mhm,
So my mindset as a person who's going to be investing in your company is to say that, okay, I'm investing in this particular pre-seed stage or seed stage or whatever, and I have a certain risk parameters, I have a certain thesis basis which I'm trying to figure
mhm,
out whether it's the right kind of company to invest in or not. And
mhm,
for most investors, some of
mhm,
them are certainly open to investing in service-based companies, but the service
mhm,
and product, if I've built
mhm,
something that others are using and I'm selling it to them,
mhm,
versus if I've built something I'm using to increase my sales,
mhm.
right? These are two very simple classifications in this particular
Mhm.
context.
But yeah,
Everything
I
that
mean,
you're building,
we are
you are
putting this as a
using it.
client side project. No, it's not just we are putting.
Okay.
We are putting as a client side project. So any normal programmer comes and uses our platform, goes through our projects and requirements, and applies and put it. So this is a
No, no,
platform
let
where.
me
Mhm,
let me rephrase.
Mm-hmm.
So your platform, this projectmela.com, that is
Mm-hmm.
what you are building, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have got different parties coming to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Right, right.
who is making money out of projectmela.com? Sure, I understand, because as
Mm-hmm.
there are other parties, they will be making money, but it's for the intent is for your consumption, for your business, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
let me just give you an example. You built projectx.com and you gave
Mm-hmm.
it to all the software development agencies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you have got a product that is being used by others.
Mm-hmm.
You see the difference?
Mm-hmm. Sure, sure.
So,
So, this is definitely not a core product-based company, I would say. This is obviously a platform-based company which is trying to work in the service industry, or I would
yes,
say optimizing trying the work within the service industry. I think one thing would definitely would love to ask is if you had to invest in my company, right? What can I do on my part that would mitigate the risk on your end, and you would feel comfortable investing in my company? So,
so
what can you expect me to do
few
on that?
things.
Mhm.
Um, One, I'm still not sure how you can handle it operationally at scale.
Got it. Mhm.
Second thing is that in your pitch deck, what I didn't get a sense of, and again, I would go back and do my research as an investor anyway,
Sure, sure, sure.
right?
Mhm.
But what is the market size that I'm potentially looking at? So right now, if you made say 1 lakh rupees,
Mhm.
within 1 year, can you make 1 CR? Within
Mhm.
2 years, can you make 5 CR? Within three
Mhm.
years, can you make 10 CR? Can
Mhm.
this continue for the next 20 odd years?
Mhm.
Right. These are the questions that I'll be asking myself. And sure, I might, as an investor at this particular stage, might want to exit in 3 to 5 years or even 7 years for that matter of fact.
Mhm.
But then this is what is required. This is the seed that is required for you
Mhm.
to get to the next 3 years so that someone else can come in, put more,
Mhm.
potentially buy, buy me out and give me an exit. But
Got it. Got it.
that exit needs to be at a certain multiple.
Mhm.
One of those very important aspects, and in every one of these sessions, I say this,
Mhm.
that I am not looking at only Project Mela.
Mhm.
Every week,
Sure.
I'm looking at maybe 20 odd startups.
Mhm.
So in a month, if I'm looking at 100 startups,
Mhm.
and let's say that I have, say, 10 CR to invest, for example, I don't have
Mhm.
a timeline to invest it, right?
Sure, sure.
Let's just say that I have 100 CR to invest. And over a
Mhm.
period of 1 year, for example, that's the internal target that I have taken, right?
Mhm.
I
Sure.
mean, these are not real numbers, these are hypothetical. Okay.
Sure, sure. Okay.
So I look at the first month and I say that, out of this 100 CR and out of these 100 startups that I listened to this particular month,
Mhm.
this one I really have this conviction can become the next Zoho, can become the next,
Mhm.
Zerodha or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Or the
Sure.
next Amazon or the next Tesla.
Mhm.
That is the mindset that investors will come with. And Project
Sure.
Mela is not standing by itself, it's standing against 99 in 1 month. So even if I say I might not even get back to you for a month
Mhm. Got it.
and decide
So,
that, okay, let me see. Out of these 99, maybe these five really stand out.
mhm.
So, and it again depends on investment companies to investment companies. Some of them have got a really prompt response. Some of them will take 2 months. Some of
Mhm.
them will take 2 weeks. So
Mhm.
there's no real benchmark to it. And that's why raising investment is an extremely hard and long process. It can
Got
take you
it. Got it.
anywhere between 3 months to 6 months to even 1 year to close your round,
Sure, sure.
right?
So, let's understanding your, doubts and hesitations. Let's say we have never actively looked for fundraising, just discussing hypothetically if we were, because we haven't even launched our project. So
Sure.
if within 1 month I say, hey, you saw our pitch deck, so you were doubting the operations part. So now we are taking 10 projects, say for example, each project average 1 to 2 lakhs of project. So we are handling 20 lakhs of project pipeline. So would it make you more comfortable? Okay, this looks like it is working to invest. And second is your market size question, right? I think I will tell you why it has immensely huge market size, as big as to go to become the next Zoho or Zerodha, is because what we have seen, at least having to work with a lot of college students and interns, and uh, while even when managing my agencies, there are a lot of good programmers just right out of college, right? And they have a big question mark in their mind that where do we start, how do we go about it, and where do I get my first project. The idea is to be their first guide and say, hey, you start with us. You are, front end, maybe, take the small projects. You do some free projects, you make model box, you earn some points, take up some bigger projects. You sit and collaborate with team. See if this type of things work for you. Doesn't work, you go and collaborate with other team, do some other kind of project. So we want to be this collaborative platform where you as an individual programmer comes and fundamentally explores your capabilities at the end, and for the client side, making the platform as optimized as possible. So there
Sure.
is definitely a huge market size which we are looking at, and also like a good
Mm,
potential of how we are planning to capture those market size as well. So
right.
the big question mark lies here, and maybe 5 months after when we are discussing, is how much operationally efficient we are, where there is the maximum amount of hesitation.
So
So
what
if
is
we
the,
say,
no,
yeah,
I hear you, but in the interest of time, um,
mm-hmm,
what are the two assumptions that you made in what you said in the past 2 minutes?
mm-hmm.
Major
So one is,
assumptions. And there is no way for you to know whether it will actually materialize or not.
sure, sure. So first is, the massive assumption that we have to get the operational part done really
The
nicely
last
so
two
that we
minutes
can,
only in what you said.
yeah. So operationally, you have to really be good. That is one assumption. Second assumption, I believe, is, uh, having the trust that these individual college students and people will come to our platform and actually, explore projects. And third, I think, is maybe getting projects so that we can put into our platform. I think these three were assumptions we made. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in your last 2 minutes, the
mhm,
major two assumptions were that
mhm.
people are going to trust you to come to your platform. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, think about it this way. Project Mela is starting right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a college grad. I see, okay, Project Mela is doing something. Then I see that there are 10 other platforms that are out there. Now,
Mm-hmm.
depending on, you have to get into the mindset of the person who is into this situation, who's looking for something. I have a
Mm-hmm.
financial pressure, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to be start, I need to start earning immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have the bandwidth, the luxury to be doing any of these things, or do I really need to jump into this? This is one persona.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another persona could be that, okay, I have a relatively well-off family. I can sit and learn more for the next 6 months, assuming that I haven't had a college placement.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another persona that you're potentially looking at. Then you have got some, but I don't really have any solid skill set of actual project delivery and building. So I need at least a 6 month long
Mm-hmm.
journey to be able to learn and build anything meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Then there is another class of persona for these kind of people who have, let's say, skill
So
set.
this it.
They have already delivered something, built something, some experience, and they're
Mm-hmm.
relatively at a position where you can start leveraging them in a 2 month period,
Mm-hmm.
right? So who is going to be looking for what? Who are you
Mm-hmm.
targeting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now,
Got
when I
it.
say this particular aspect, the word that I'm using, targeting, that is
Mm-hmm.
extremely crucial because that's something that
Mm-hmm.
I see that you are not thinking of enough. Be it
Mm-hmm.
from who you are trying to get as a developer or as an individual contributor, or be it as a client who you are trying to get onto the platform to develop the project. Now,
Mm-hmm.
having said that, and we have got maybe about 6, 7 minutes. So let me
Sure.
just conclude my thought process. Having
Mm-hmm.
said that, how is your entire end-to-end business from an profitability perspective going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not just about pumping money into the system and saying that, okay, I got an investor, the investor has the confidence, let me get the money in. How are you going to become sustainable? How are you going to become profitable? That line of sight, those actual numbers, and see, projections everybody has at this particular stage. Nobody trusts the projections. That's why
I know.
clarity that you bring to the table, that's extremely important. But
Absolutely. I
that's
know.
why it becomes very difficult to raise investment at this particular stage. So, but if you start getting traction and if you
Mm-hmm.
start showing the numbers and say that, boss, let's say I have a team of 5 people, I have 50 freelancers, or developers who are working for me, and I have had projects worth 50 lakh rupees so far. And on a unit economics basis, this is what my numbers look like. And this is, I'm EBITDA positive in 6 months' time, or I'm going to break even in another 6 months. And this is what my numbers are going to look like. That gives a lot more confidence to say that you know how to run a sustainable business, apart from having identified who you are targeting from both ends. Now, targeting is a very, very important keyword, because one of those things that you haven't covered and you haven't spoken about is your go-to-market strategy. How are you going to reach out to all of these people? So, okay, you got lucky
Sure.
with IIT Bombay, they gave you an opportunity, but you go to other colleges, and literally, if and I am based out of Bangalore, let's just say that there are 250 colleges in Bangalore. You reach out to 250 colleges, you might not even hear back from 5 people,
Sure.
right? They don't know you. They don't have the trust and the confidence that Project Mail is something who can do something,
Sure. Sure.
right? So your GTM in terms of being able to reach out to these people in the first place,
Sure. Sure.
that is
In
extremely
fact,
important. But more important, all of these things require money.
Sure.
Where is that going to come from? How can you
Sure.
sustain yourself? For example, you generated 1 lakh rupees. Let's say, and I'm pretty sure that to build all of these things, and even after all of these revenue generation, you are into negative, right?
No, no, we are positive actually. We are
How's that?
profitable. No, no,
So
we are
okay.
profitable.
You have built this entire platform, and how much has it cost you?
No, I am the programmer, right? So it has costed me
So you
like
haven't
time.
accounted for your time
Yeah, yeah, sure.
as
Sure,
in
sure,
terms
sure.
of money, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Okay,
Definitely that.
that's fine. Fair enough. So you have you sort of you have leveraged your skill set, but I'm looking at a more scalable level of operation and
Yeah, yeah,
saying that
definitely.
I need to pay people, freelancers. I need to pay my internal people. I still need to start keep working on the platform itself. And let's just say that you being the founder, how much time will you be able to spend on actual development rather than managing all the things that are happening around you? You will need people to come on board and start developing your platform as well, right? And then you'll need business development guys who will reach out to companies, or sales guys who will reach out to companies, try and sell your product and whatnot, right? So there is a lot that is happening. But on a unit economics basis, when you start your marketing, you will realize that, okay, most
Yeah,
of my customers are on LinkedIn. I probably have to spend 50,000 rupees and do XYZ campaigns and whatnot. Where is that
right,
50,000 coming from?
right, right.
And
That
if
we have
you're
to chip
not
in from
able to
the.
sustainably, constantly generate revenue that is surpassing, or actually, as a matter of fact, the business that you're in, you constantly need to be in the positive, because to build the investor trust is very difficult without traction, right? So your
Right.
early point of view needs to be such that how can I remain profitable and into the positive from day one, so that, or manage your resources within the means of your revenue generation and still be able to deliver result, because your USP is your quality that you're bringing to the table with respect to the freelancers, with respect to the management, with respect to making sure that the client's mind is at ease. So that is what you're bringing to the table, quality.
Sure.
But how do you manage your resources, deliver the project at a certain price point while making sure that the quality is maintained, while making sure that the entire business from an operations perspective is sustainable, you can run it and still be able to show a projection where someone starts believing that it can become the next Fiverr, it can become the next Upwork,
Sure. I
right?
mean, that is we have to work on these
Yeah,
aspects,
so
definitely.
operations, GTM, you're targeting, even figuring out the solutions which is more light for you. All of these are those different components that you would potentially need to look at to sort of figure out how to go from where you are to where you want to be, so that as an investor, my fear, uncertainty, and doubt in terms of how is this business going to get me from X to 10X. And again, 10X is again an assumption. Someone could be like, okay, I'm happy with 2X. Someone could be like, no, I want 100X, right? But multiple is what an investor, because as an investor as well, we don't invest our
Agreed.
money. We are raising money from somewhere else, just like you,
Sure, sure.
right? So we have to
Yeah.
also pay back the money. So
Sure.
it's not a, no investor has money sitting around to put anywhere. We have to return the money as well. So I can't just give you money because I have it. Because if I give you that money, then I need to answer to someone else and tell them that, boss, I invested 1 CR into this particular company, but that's gone. That's not something that I want to hear ever. Right? So
Makes
it
sense.
becomes a very difficult situation even for an investor. I see a lot of people when they talk about investors, like, why don't they invest? Why don't do this? Because we are also answerable. We also have to go back to people and tell them, boss, you gave me 10 CR and now I am only able to give you 8 CR. That's not something that I want to do.
Exactly. That's why initially we chose the bootstrap option so that
Yeah,
we
I
don't
mean,
have that pressure on our shoulder.
the way I see it,
Mm-hmm.
investors are good at a certain level. If
Mm-hmm.
you have a very niche idea, very,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say you wanted to, and the key trends and,
Mm-hmm.
the highs that are running into the industry. Let's say you want to get into semiconductor today.
Mm-hmm.
Because the market is so new, there isn't a lot happening, and you want to manufacture, get into a semiconductor fab manufacturing and whatnot. You want to set up a plant. You might be
Mm-hmm.
able to garner more interest than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing something that the market is already penetrated, there is already something happening within the market, then the interest comes down. But even
Mm-hmm.
in that market, if you say that, boss, I'm building a search engine, but instead of doing XYZ things, I'm doing indexing, which is really revolutionary. You might
Mm-hmm.
have more interest. So
Mm-hmm.
at an idea stage, before you have started generating revenue, you need to be bring to the table something that the investor, upon doing their research, they
Mm-hmm.
find that, okay, this has real potential basis my understanding, my research, my communication with some of the experts in this particular field.
Mm-hmm. Got
But
it.
if you're not doing that, then the
Mm-hmm.
best point to approach an investor is when you've started generating some revenue and you have some traction. Even then, the confidence that needs to be built is and
Mm-hmm.
showcased is that it can become a 10x multiple company. If you come in
Got
right now, you are helping me grow, not build. I've
it.
already built a substantial portion of it. Now I need to grow,
Mm-hmm. Got
right?
it.
That's when. Then the second phase comes that, let's say you have gotten into a place where you started making 10 CR as an ARR, for example. Now you need to target 100 CRR, 100 CR ARR.
Got it.
Then
Got
you
it.
need additional money to be pumped in. That's again
Mm-hmm.
growth,
Growth.
right?
Growth makes sense.
So from bootstrap to investor money,
Mm-hmm.
anytime anybody wants to jump, it
Mm-hmm.
has to be for growth. If you are not working on something niche, if you are into robotics, if you are working into some deep
Mm-hmm.
tech, if you're working into some AI is highly abused right now. Machine learning is
Mm-hmm.
highly abused
In
right
fact,
now.
we are also putting some AI features into our
Yeah, but
platform.
again, I mean, eh, I've seen more AI companies than I've seen normal companies now. So
Sure. Sure. Sure.
it's highly abused. So the use
Mm-hmm.
cases, the actual development, the actual
Mm-hmm.
application that needs to validate the usage of the term machine learning or AI.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are doing some sort of analytics and some sort of learning does not make it qualified enough to put that label and tag.
Yeah, in fact, that's the reason we didn't even use the word AI,
Yeah.
even though we are
No, I'm
working
just
on some.
giving you an
Yeah.
example to say that when is the right time to approach an investor in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
right? For your particular case, once you have a certain traction and you have built that confidence that whatever your definition of product market fit, or as I call it, a first level of product market fit is, first level
Mm-hmm.
because the product will change, the market will change, the competitors will change. So you will
Mm-hmm.
always be trying to build something that the market wants. This is
Mm-hmm.
just the first level right now to say that I have something that people want.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have reached that level or a clear line of sight at that level, and now you are thinking that in 2 months I'm going to get there, now I need to grow
Mm-hmm.
exponentially. That's when an investor money comes into the picture. To get
Sure.
to your PMF in your field, it's
Mm-hmm.
very unlikely that someone is going to back you up.
Sure. Sure.
They
Sure.
might, and
Just
I'm saying unlikely, not
mm.
impossible. There
Yeah. Yeah.
might
No. No.
certainly be people who are out there, who are willing,
Mm.
who are
No. No.
interested, who might do
I
it.
have actually anticipated this. So, investor money is something is far, far ahead in my journey. So, I have to again rely to bootstrapping. Just one quick question, if you have some time,
So
would you, as a individual client who is looking to build a project, want to get your project done through Project Miller? Would you be interested? Like, just saying. If not, then why? As a
no,
client,
I'm
just
certainly interested. It's
hmm,
intriguing. Not to
hmm,
put my money, but to get some work done and validate. I think that's one of those other things that you could potentially do. Target companies, get some
Exactly. That
projects
that is
done
the
from
line
them.
we are going for. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the line going for.
And they might even invest in you. Who knows?
Sure. So if you have an MVP, instead of going to Upwork and Fiverr, would
Hmm.
you consider tech projects or Project Mela? If we can show you that we are
Sure.
working with XYZ colleges and we are having these people, would you have considered Project Mela, or you would go
Absolutely.
to?
Absolutely. See, that's why I said I relate to your problem statement.
Mm-hmm,
But as an investor, and that's why I keep saying none of this is from a technical perspective or a business perspective or anything else, just as a pure investor,
mm-hmm. Got it. Got it.
right? But if you ask me as a businessman, as a
Mm-hmm.
founder, that would I be
As a
interested in
client,
pursuing and exploring Project Mela?
yeah, yeah.
Sure, I can. But then
Mm.
will I become your repeat customer? I don't know.
That is only something time will tell. Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Right. So a lot of these things will depend on how much of a repeat customer base you have, how many people keep coming back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So customer
Makes sense.
retention is just as important as customer acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So all
Sure.
of these are the different considerations that you need to put in place just so you can start approaching your business, not a
Mm-hmm.
product, not a project, not a company, approaching your
Mm-hmm.
business in a
Mm-hmm.
manner where you see, especially if you're targeting investor money, where you see that all of these things are streamlined, smoothened for someone to build the confidence that you can get them to the next level.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Uh, sure, sure. Thanks for
Okay.
your insight.
Any other questions?
Just one last question. I
Sure.
mean, I was not personally inclined. As of now, I have not explored the route of investor money angel
Sure.
investing. As of now, I have just assumed that I have to, make profits and go the bootstrap part. I also have two, three agencies, which I've started obviously way before Project Mela, which is currently in pause because I was working on this project. So
Hmm.
I might have to do this bootstrapping route for quite few months, which I'm mentally prepared also, and there is some financially idea that X amount I'm willing to put also. So would you suggest me going this bootstrap route since we are already kind of profitable, or you would encourage me to go to the angel investing VC
No, I
route?
would suggest go bootstrapped.
Yeah. Hmm. Sure, sure.
See, right now you do not have that kind of expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
If you can manage your operations, keep it bootstrapped. Don't
Mm-hmm.
go for any investment right now.
Mm-hmm.
Start targeting bigger tickets, start
Mm-hmm.
targeting more revenue
Mm-hmm.
without compromising on the quality, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get that done, you will establish a brand name for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that will, it's not always that you have to approach an investor.
Mm-hmm.
We also
Exactly.
go out there in the market and research basis our sector interest that which
Mm-hmm.
are the potential companies who are into this space and what are they doing. So we reach out to startups as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there is no, as a startup, as a founder, forget investors. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody.
Sure.
Focus on your business, focus
Mm-hmm.
on your customers, focus on
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do. If you can get your business to a point where you start turning heads, one of
Mm-hmm.
those heads would be investors as well,
Mm-hmm.
or some of those heads would be investors as well, and they would
Mm-hmm.
approach you. But always focus on your business, always.
Sure,
Until
sure.
unless you have reached a point where you want to get to an exponential growth, that's where you
Mm-hmm.
specifically need to target investors. But until you have reached that point, work
Right.
on your
Sure.
business.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for your insight.
No problem. I see a question as well. It's
Yeah,
JN.
I have not seen any of the chats as of now.
So JN is asking what exactly are investors looking for in the AI powered startups these days? Okay. So if I have to break this down, investors looking for in the AI powered startups. Now, I don't know what AI powered startups really means because as an investor, I'm not particularly worried about what is AI powered or not. What I'm worried about is whether you've got a good business solving a real problem, being able to generate real value, and getting to a business scale that can make sense for my investment or not. Now, AI powered is And that's what I was telling Swastik, that it's a relatively abused term.
Agreed, agreed,
Uh,
no doubt.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
not for your startup, but in general.
no, sure.
I hear more AI-powered companies than normal
Mhm.
companies now.
No, I was about to buy projectmiller.ai domain also. Maybe some,
But yeah, the
just
problem
to
that
get some more.
happens is,
Yeah,
sorry, just to answer Jane's question, right? The problem
yeah,
that
sure.
happens is the application of it. And when you talk about the technology, you really have to make sure that you are utilizing some level of machine learning into it, some sort of neural network, some sort of something happening which can actually give me the confidence that your machine is going to do something which is not just a simple automation or some advanced version of automation being tagged as AI or ML. Right? So it's the use case that is more important as the highest priority. Then comes the technology, and the technology implementation needs to be at a level which actually justifies the work or the tag that is being put against it, that it is AI. Or again, AI is also something that I would very scarcely use. Simple reason is, first make machine learning, then talk about artificial intelligence. Let the learning happen first, then we talk about intelligence. Right? So until unless you can tell me something proactively, I don't see it as a AI in the first place. It's a machine learning. I ask you, you tell me. Okay, you've learned something, and then you help me. Right? It's not any level of intelligence that can do a lot of different things for me. Right? So I hope that answers your question. You can unmute yourself and talk about it as well if you want.
Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I've got your point, what you were trying to say from an investor's point of view, and machine learning when they're looking at, right? So there are two things. Let's suppose here in this case, I was researching around the same thing 4 years back. So I also got in touch with the Upwork team. They also put out a direct contract. They are building enterprise level projects. So that is one insight which I would like to give to Swastik. Happy to connect and then see what could be done in terms of collaboration. So
Sure.
the Upwork was trying to get the enterprises interested in the freelancing arena. The biggest challenge was they were trying to solve is the trust, and because
Mm,
enterprises are going to have cost-effective solutioning. So,
mm,
what I understood, because I come from a strong AI and consulting background. So, when I say AI, yes, it has come a long way, right? From the data modeling to analytics to prescriptive or predictive analytics. Now it has gone into the intelligence side of it. And there's a lot of speculation around AGI, the general intelligence coming in next 5 years, 10 years, and there's a lot of debate going on, right? So when investors are looking at it, so what if there is a tech, let's suppose a very specific, unique tech, which is happening in the indexing of, provided there are a lot of freelancers at both the supply and demand end, are investors, if investors are told that the indexing, the search part of it is the key, the USP, which I recall what Upwork had approached me for. So if the search itself is pretty much advanced, both in terms of automation or analytics or machine learning driven, and then hence AI also, where there's a contextual understanding, not semantic understanding and contextual understanding. There's a little technical, which is beyond the traditional string matching, profile matching, etc. Right? So if this is just in concept and there's a small POC being done, but there is no freelancer, there is no project, there's zero. Let's suppose we are starting at the day zero thing. But this concept is being tested out with some of the data which is being put out, and a live demo is put out. So I wanted to understand from an investor's perspective, there is zero, I would say, traction, but the technology is new and it's hardly implemented. And Fever, Upwork, these are all, it will take a lot of time for them to implement in their platform. Right. So that is what I was having word with almost 3.5 years back. So I wanted to understand, how do investors look at it? Because this is like core tech solution, but there is zero traction. So I would like to know what investors will be looking at this
So
case.
let's put a few filters on this, right? From the and I'm assuming, let's just say there is let's put a story to it first. There is a startup who is doing the kind of work that you are talking about, working on this particular technology, right? And then they approach an investor because they need more resources, maybe computing, maybe whatever, more skilled engineers to work into this, right? Now, why you have approached an investor is as important. In this particular case, let's just go with the story, and I'm hoping that's okay with you. Now, the kind of investor, first thing, who would be interested into this is someone who has got a long patience, meaning they can wait for the technology to evolve, they can wait for the business to evolve, and then they could potentially start getting into the returns. Okay. And that's relatively on the lower side. Most investors would want to look, especially early stage investors, they would want to look at a lower cycle of 3 to 5 years for an exit. Okay. First point. Second thing is that you would still need to present a story. Just the technology is a research project, and you would potentially be looking at a research grant or similar, or some philanthropic work or philanthropic grant to come your way to make this happen. But if you're looking to make a business out of it, then you have to have more to it in terms of how you're going to handle things and how are they going to happen. And that's the story that you are selling to an investor to raise money. Even in case of OpenAI, they had a certain narrative to go ahead for all the kind of investments that they were going to put into the business. And Sam Altman was already a well-known person. Then that managed to happen, right? So it's not as simple to say that I'm working on something, can I get money for it? There needs to be a certain level of targeting, and whether they will have, when I say targeting for you to understand that whether this kind of person is even going to invest in the company or not, have they even made any past investments into this kind of thing or not, and what's been the real story with the particular kind of investor in the first place, right? And then the storytelling has to be there that in 2 years, I'm looking to sort of fix this or optimize this and get it up to this kind of level. And these are the particular milestones. And then 2 years from then, I'm looking to sell it to these guys and or make it open source and allow so many people to leverage it and whatnot, right? So while we look at things very unidimensionally, there are a lot of variables involved that actually govern how a certain thing is going to grow, not just from an investment. For example, let's just say that you take that kind of technology and implement it with Swastik's work. Even then,
In fact, we are also developing a contextual based search for, figuring out. So very similar what he said.
Right. So even then, I'll still have my questions around operations. I'll still have my questions around targeting. I'll still have my questions around GTM, right? So I think that's the short answer to what you were asking, Jayan. Unless you have a follow-up.
Sure. So, adding to that story, so will the investors, as a next step, let's suppose from that meet, as a next step, will they be looking forward to more fine-tuning the tech part of it, or will they be looking at, is the team capable, or do they have the GTM to grab through, let's suppose, some kind of marketing and get both the supply and demand side of it on board? So what is it that they would like to look at next, having, let's say, got the demo of it that this has potential? So what would be the immediate, let's suppose, 3 months, 6 months projection which they would want? Is it from the marketing side where this platform can now start getting the data of supply and demand, or is it like come back and focus on the tech, fine tune it even more?
See, investors are not going to get involved into the tech piece of it, right? They might have some suggestions, but eventually, as a founder, you are building the tech, you are building the company. It's up to you to take that into consideration or not, right? Unless and until an investor or a bunch of investors are on a board and they take a board decision to do something, generally, they are not going to get involved into the tech side of it and the product side of it. It's for you to build. However, the business side of it and what business decisions you make, that's more of an interest, because that's directly going to affect the revenue. And personally, I would certainly want to know more about the product as well and the roadmap, because how you cater to your audience and how customer obsessed you are and up to what extent can you really get the needs attended to. That's also a function in terms of how well can you sell the product, right? So when you talk about an investor, business is probably the more important thing, but on a day-to-day basis, nobody wants to get involved. At a high level, on a quarterly meeting basis, we might meet and you can tell me that on a product, this is what my roadmap looks like. And we might have questions and answers, and you might have some data points to say that, okay, we have done some research, some analysis, these kind of feedbacks, and basis which we are seeing that this is our product roadmap and whatnot. And similar discussions we can have on a quarterly basis, but on a day-to-day basis, we generally do not want to get involved. Business remains the priority. You should be able to at least showcase a story and back it up subsequently with numbers to say that, this is how my business is going to grow.
Got it. One last thing, no, let's suppose in this, adding to the same story, there's full confidence and the background, etc., of the founders are intact with the tech. So let's suppose the same startup wouldn't approach the investors for the tech side, because that will eventually get fueled up with the data that comes up from the both the supply and demand in the platform marketplace. So they are purely approaching to capitalize on the market, take the market share, compete with the existing competitors with this USP of their tech-driven, let's suppose, whether in the search, etc., multi-modality based search. So they want to get into the market. It's pure play of GTM, and they want to fuel into the marketing side. So they are raising money just to onboard both the ends, both the supply and the demand end of it in the marketplace. So will investors be, what will be the outlook of the investors? Because this is just this pure play stage of fueling in the GTM and investing heavily into the marketing side, because the tech is now ready, tested, validated. It's just waiting for the data to be fueled into it.
So very difficult to answer this question without a lot of other details. Simple reason is that just the tech does not make business. There is a lot more to it. So even from a marketing point, so just the same discussion with Swastik, right? GTM is important. Which channels are you utilizing? What kind of operations will you be handling? What sort of targeting do you have? Having just the tech background is not enough. Do you understand business? Do you understand business model? Do you have a good sales strategy? Do you have a good pricing strategy? All of these things will also come into the picture. So when asking the kind of question that I have the tech, now I need money to go into marketing or apply into GTM and whatnot, these are just two variables. But the entire business scale, when I'm looking at it, there are a lot more variables, and it's the mix of how the perception of those variables land into an investor's mind that's eventually going to create an opinion out of them, right? So too less information to comment.
Okay, I got it. Got that. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so I think that's about it for today. We're already 23 minutes past.
Yeah.
So that's about it from my end. Thank you so much. Thanks, Swastik.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the insights.
Well, thank you
Thanks,
so
Rahul.
much for everybody who's participating. And if anybody wants to be, participant in the upcoming sessions, please go to our website. I've linked it in the chat. You can register for your pitch workshop, and I'll contact you and schedule the session for you. So thank you once again. Please do register if you're interested. This is a great opportunity, and I think you have a lot of insights. You can have a personalized insights from Amiya on your product. So hope to see you guys next time.
Yeah,
Have
sure,
a great
sure.
week.
Good luck to you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Oh,
Bye.
Bye.
thank you.